Find Your Why by Simon Sinek. Do you know why you get up, go to work, eat, sleep, and do it all over again? In other words, do you feel like your personal and professional lives have a sense of direction and purpose? If you can't answer these questions with a clear and loud yes, don't worry. Many people don't know why they do what they do and, as a result, don't feel fulfilled when they get home from work each day. You'll learn how to find your why so that you can feel motivated to go to work when you wake up in the morning. You'll learn how to figure out your why and start living by it, whether that means looking at stories from your past or telling a group of strangers about it. You'll also learn why specificity is the key to the why process and how hows are the actions that make a why come to life. If you've ever felt lost or unfulfilled in life, it might be because you don't know what your purpose is, or what author Simon Sinek calls your why. It can be hard to find your why, but once you do, you can wake up every day with a sense of purpose and determination. Sinek found his why after he no longer cared about his work. At the time, he was sad and a lot of people gave him advice, but none of it seemed to fit his situation. He did some soul searching and came to the conclusion that his why was to inspire others. Once he accepted this, he started to see his life more clearly and with more hope. Sinek's life got a direction when he knew his why, and he soon found that other people liked his confidence. This is true not only for people, but also for businesses. Apple is a good example of this because it has strong competitors that sell products with more features and for less money. But Apple's customers are loyal and motivated by their slogan, "Think Different," which perfectly describes their why. Customers would rather give money to a business with a progressive image than save a few dollars by buying from a more generic company. Let's look at two ads for a paper company to see how persuasive a strong purpose can be in the marketplace. The first one talks about how good the paper is and how cheap it is. The second one talks about how the company's goal is to make a good product that lets people write down their ideas and share them with the world. This second pitch is much more interesting and compelling because it talks about the company's why. We have to sell ourselves sometimes, like when we're going for a job interview. Emily was a client of one of the authors. When she was shortlisted for a job and sat in front of a panel of executives, they asked her what made her special. Emily had the chance to talk about her why, so she talked about how excited she was to work with other people and help them become the best versions of themselves. Emily got the job because she knew exactly why she did what she did. If you don't want to go to work and find it tiring, you're doing something that doesn't align with your why. Once you find a job that you love, even the most boring and repetitive tasks become easy to do. Working your way through the golden circle is a great way to find that passion. Simon Sinek's previous book, Start With Why, talked about the golden circle, which shows how we tend to work on three levels. The first level, the outer circle, is all about what we do, while the middle level is all about how we do it. Last, the golden circle in the middle tells us why we do what we do. When all of these circles are in the right place, you'll love what you do. The author met a man named Steve on a flight. Steve had been at his job for 23 years and was still excited about it. How could this be? Well, what Steve did was make steel. How he did it was by making a pure product that is easier to recycle and makes less pollution. Why he does it is to keep the environment clean for future generations. Steve's why has kept him motivated and excited for more than 20 years. If you're still not sure how to find your why, look at your past. In order to help a young woman figure out her why, the authors had her tell personal stories from her past as part of a discovery exercise. This was painful, but it was still helpful because many of her stories showed how much she wanted to protect her younger sister from their abusive father. So, a career protecting vulnerable people who can't protect themselves would be a strong why for this young woman. Don't worry if you've thought about a dozen stories from your past and still can't figure out your why. Sometimes it's hard to find a common thread in the things we care about, and if that's the case, it might be time to look at things from a different angle. Getting help from someone who knows you well can be a great way to find your why. This person doesn't have to be someone you're close to. They just need to be interested and watchful. It can be helpful if the person you're talking to doesn't know too much about your past and will ask you thoughtful questions and even write down notes. To find your why, it's important to ask specific questions, which often lead to important details and strong feelings. With the right follow-up questions, I love spending my summer vacations with my cousins can become I love spending my summer vacations with my cousins because we could explore the woods on their property and find interesting things in nature. With these details, you can look for patterns and find your why. A good listener who is interested and asks questions will find connections between stories, even if they seem to you to have nothing in common. Todd did this when he told three very different stories. The first one was about losing his basketball scholarship because of his addictions. The second was about feeling frustrated and useless as a bartender. The third was about coming home from work and giving all his tips to a local girl who had set up a lemonade stand, which made him feel useful. After listening to his stories, the authors found a common theme that pointed to Todd's why, which is his desire to do work that really matters and to help other people do more with their lives. Even if you've found a job you love, working for a company that doesn't have a clear vision, or why, can leave you feeling frustrated and down. Worse, that business could be your own. To stop this from happening, you can run a simple why discovery workshop where people share their stories and help your company come up with a strong why. La Marzocco, a company that makes espresso machines, put on a workshop that many people will remember. Employees were asked to tell stories about what it was like to work for the company. One worker remembered a photography event at the store that brought everyone together and made them feel like they were a part of something. This story led to many more like it, and it wasn't long before La Marzocco's why became clear: to bring people together over coffee for lively conversation. Another thing that can happen to a company is that its why or mission statement, which was once clear, has changed with the times or been forgotten. Even here, a why discovery workshop can help. Enrique Uribe brought Cuestamoras to Costa Rica in the 1950s. It is a self-service grocery store. But he felt like his business had lost touch with what it was supposed to be. So, Uribe and his brothers decided to go to a workshop that would help them figure out what their business meant now. By talking about what the store meant to them today and sharing their stories, the why became a spark for innovation and helped everyone in the community find new opportunities. Uribe isn't as young as he used to be, but he can now rest easy knowing that his brothers and children can always look back at his original ideas for why Cuestamoras started. His vision will continue to motivate and guide future generations on the right path. A why discovery workshop can help a business define its corporate culture, mission statement, and vision for the future. This will make it easier for employees to make the right decisions on the ground. So far, we've paid a lot of attention to the why, but it's also important not to forget about the other parts of the golden circle. So, once you know what you want to do with your life, it's time to figure out how to do it. Since hows are the actions that make the why come to life, they are an important part of the bigger process. To figure out your hows, think about the things you do every day and how they help you reach your why. Peter Docker is a co-author. His why is to help other people do amazing things, and he has a few hows to make this happen. These include going to new places, making good friends, making things easier, and never losing sight of the bigger picture. Getting to know the hows of your coworkers can also be a big help. Peter and David Mead often work together at Start With Why events. The goal of these events is to help people reach their full potential, so everyone's why is the same. But Peter and David are the ones who really make these events work because they know how the other works and how to use their skills together to get the most out of them. For instance, one client wanted to bring 150 people to a workshop that is usually meant for no more than 40. Also, the workshop usually lasts a full day, but the client only had 4 hours to spare. Peter and David worked together and used each other's hows to make 150 whys come to life. David knows how to be creative, so he used this how to change the content to fit 150 people in 4 hours and still make it a transformative event. Peter is good at making things easy to understand, which was very helpful in this case, especially when it came to getting everyone on board with the workshop's instructions and requirements. When you know someone's hows, you know how they work. With this information, you can play to their strengths, divide tasks, and work together well so that every problem can be solved. Every once in a while, we have to make a hard choice, whether it's about a project, a partnership, or a job offer. Knowing how you work is the key to avoiding disasters and making the right decisions that will help you grow. To really understand your hows, you need to break them down to their most basic parts. Simon Sinek, the book's author, knows how to think about the long term. More specifically, Sinek focuses on making products, services, and ideas that will be used long after he's gone. It also means he cares less about meeting deadlines and finding quick ways to make money and more about giving his company a boost that will last. Not only does figuring out your hows help you learn more about yourself, but it can also show you where opportunities lie. Sinek can better figure out which opportunities fit with his why, or his overall goals, if he knows his hows. A few years ago, an executive from a large company asked Sinek to start a new business that would put people first. Since his why is to encourage other people to follow their dreams, this sounded like a good deal. But as Sinek learned more about his potential partner's goals, he realized he was more interested in making money quickly, which is not how Sinek works. Sinek's other how is to look at things in a different or unusual way, which was another approach that his potential partner didn't like. So, since he knew that this project didn't fit with his hows or his whys, it was clear that he shouldn't take this chance. In the end, he chose the right thing to do and politely said no. The partnership would have looked great on his resume and added to his list of clients, but he also knows it would have been a bad experience. If you're in a situation that doesn't feel right, you can use your hows to figure out where things are out of balance and, hopefully, make the changes you need to put things right. Finding out why you do what you do and how you do it is part of the journey to a fulfilling life. But the hard work isn't done yet. The next step is to tell everyone about it. When people ask you what you do, start by telling them why you do it. This is a common question in any social setting, and it gives you a chance to get used to talking about your life's purpose. Try it with the person sitting next to you on a plane, a friend at a party, or a stranger in a waiting room. Even though you might feel awkward at first, the good thing about strangers is that you probably won't see them again. It also gives you a chance to fine-tune your why into a message you can say with ease and confidence. More importantly, telling the world your why will push you to stick to it and do what you say. The more you say out loud what you want to do, the more likely you are to do it. Also, if your why statement is something like helping people become the best version of themselves, you could imagine that some people might roll their eyes when they hear it. This is why you'll need to back up this bold claim with some actions. As for your business, there are many reasons to keep coming back to its mission statement. First of all, it will be easy to see when a product or service is no longer useful or up to date. But it's also helpful in human resources, like knowing what to look for when hiring or figuring out when an employee's why doesn't match the company's. Lastly, you'll be sure to find the most productive arrangements when you can match the whys of your staff with the roles that fit them best. So, the more people know about your why and the more you know about other people's whys, the better off we'll all be, both personally and professionally. Not knowing your why, or your purpose in life, can be frustrating and hard to understand for individuals, businesses, and teams. But there are ways to look inside, figure out your why, and start living a life that is driven, passionate, and productive. When you know your why, you can start doing well in both your personal and professional life. What you should do to put what you've learned to use. Look at the stories that shaped you the most to find your why. Our stories are a big part of finding out why. When telling your stories to someone who can help you figure out what's important to you, it's important to talk about both good and bad things. They could be from your childhood or from your adult life, as long as they were important to who you are now. Thanks for watching.